Well, the Silfab Solar facility not operating tonight in Fort Mill. I'm Colin Mayfield.
And I'm Vanessa Rufus. Silfab officials say they will keep production operations shut down through the weekend. In a statement released just hours ago, they say during this time, employees will be on site for non-production related activities, while discussions with federal, state, and local officials remain ongoing. They also add the company looks forward to restarting normal operations following reviews from environmental officials Monday. Now, during a briefing today, which we brought to you on WCNC Plus streaming, the Silfab site director downplayed concerns surrounding the facility.
We've been extremely transparent from the very beginning. I think if you, go back, this obviously has been a challenge in the community for some time, but Silfab has always been open and transparent in everything that we've done here.
Well, dozens of Fort Mill community members gathered tonight in opposition to those claims. Silfab is no stranger to the backlash. The company has faced calls for its removal since before it opened late last year.
Tonight, many parents say transparency is lacking. Around 100 showed up at a protest just hours ago, holding signs, as you can see here, and demanding answers.
We feel that Silfab is not being truthful, is not being honest. We need an investigation. We need DES to help us understand what has happened and how they are going to make them operational again. It's impossible in my mind.
Now, one point of concern folks have, they say, with this facility in specific is that proximity to Flint Hill Elementary. You're looking at just how close those two campuses lie. The school was closed, you'll remember, the past 2 days after the most recent incident at Silfab. And so, yeah, this is just hundreds of yards away from that school.
Meanwhile, York County leaders, they did release a statement just hours ago after a unanimous ruling.
They say they directed county management to research and invoke all powers within their legal authority to ensure all regulatory directives are being followed. So we know tonight that includes invoking emergency ordinance powers, issuing cease and desist directives, and fully cooperating with environmental agencies to adhere to all laws and safety standards.
County leaders also say while the investigation is underway, York County emergency management and inspection staff familiar with operations will be on site assisting with the review. We're told they intend to provide updates to ensure information is clear and accurate. Now, Siobhan Riley has been following this entire situation throughout the night. Now she breaks down where things stand.
Criticism of Silfab Solar continues following two chemical incidents this week. While some people in the community say they want this facility moved, the site's director of operations says the company can resume work. This weekend, Silfab will continue to pause operations until a review on Monday by the South Carolina Department of Environmental Service. Friday, site director of operations Greg Baston telling media, despite this week's issues, there was never a significant danger.
But let me emphasize that at no time during this event were any employees or the public put at risk for this incident.
It's not isolated. If they do this to us, they're going to do it to other counties.
Community members came out to Fort Mill to protest the company Friday. It's less than a mile from Flint Hill Elementary, which has been closed since Thursday as a cautionary measure.
We moved here to Fort Mill because of the school district and the sense of community that they have. And it just feels like we're not being heard. And we really just want, somebody to stand up and do the right thing.
Baston blames significant amounts of misinformation when referring to the incidents. He says Tuesday's accidental release of water containing what he's calling small amounts of potassium hydroxide was reported as a worst-case scenario.
The scrubber holds over 1,500 gallons. At the time, we weren't quite sure initially how big the leak was. Only after our investigation started, we estimated the leakage was at 300 gallons.
When referring to Thursday's leak, Baston said the drip was discovered last Friday. He says it was a small drip that was contained.
The vendor who we purchased the tank from, they recommended we tighten the flange. We did, and it reduced the leak. Unfortunately, it didn't completely eliminate it. It brought it down to roughly 1 drop an hour.
Protesters still argue that the facility needs to leave their community.
I'm not against, solar panels, but I'm against them manufactured in our community. So I would really like for it to be following the proper zoning, which is if it's safe, then why isn't it coded as in moving to a heavy industrial area?
And Silfab says the company followed protocol and is still in contact with local and state leaders. In Fort Mill, Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
Now, as we mentioned, Thursday's incident was not the only one that sounded the alarm for folks living nearby. You might remember on Tuesday, crews responded to the solar plant after a spill involving potassium hydroxide. That chemical is commonly used in manufacturing. The incident prompted local leaders and community members to revoice their concerns over the plant. Then on Wednesday, the Fort Mill School District called for Silfab to close its doors. Yesterday, of course, that second incident that forced the school to shut down yesterday and today. And then just hours ago, Silfab announced that they would keep operations halted. We actually broke that news to you over on WCNC Plus streaming right as we got things underway with that stream. You might remember they had previously said they thought they would resume operations tonight.
We have had the newest developments for you on this breaking news story throughout the day and really the entire week at our streaming platform, WCNC Plus. That's the best way to stay up to date on these type of stories when we're not on our linear shows here. It's free and available wherever you stream.